Hello and welcome to KnightHunter Books. We might have somehow accumulated quite a few books over the course of February. I think a lot of this is to blame on a trip to Forbidden Planet with 15 minutes to go before it closed, and I think we panicked.
I'll take one of everything!
So we will rattle through these quite quickly. The first is Passing Strange by Klages, which is set in San Francisco in 1940 and follows 6 women. And I partly picked this up because it's a Tor.com novella, and partly because I've heard that it's got quite a lot of queer representation. And it says that this is inspired by kind of pulp, American noir.
My next one is The Girl Who Raced Fairyland by Catherynne Valente, and I know nothing about this apart from the fact that it's the final Fairyland book.
Oh, is it the last one?
Yeah. A series I've loved for years, so...
And I need to pick up the first one this month.
I might even have to reread the rest before I read this one.
My next one is Binti Home by Nnedi Okorafor, even though neither of us have read the first of the Binti series, but we've read her books before and really like them, and this series sounds like fun. It follows a girl who goes to Space University and is the first of her people to go, and I think this second book follows her as she goes home.
My next one is Updraft by Fran Wilde, mostly bought off the back of online buzz, but this is a coming of age story set around a girl who has wanted her entire life to do one thing in a sort of steampunk fantasy universe, and ends up having to do something else entirely, which actually gives her a deeper insight into how her society is structured.
My next one is Arrival by Ted Chiang, which is also sold as Stories of Your Life and Others, but seeing as the film's now out, then the film tie-in cover is all we can find. So this is a short story collection that includes more than just Arrival, but that is one of the longer stories in it, I think. Which I've heard good things about, kind of how it explores linguistics in a science fictional setting. And considering how much we've been enjoying Ken Liu's science fiction short stories, then I thought this would be a good one to start after we finish that.
This next one is Amberlough by Lara, Elena, Donnelly, and this is actually possibly similar to Passing Strange in that it's deco punk, which I quite like the idea of. It seems to have become a bit of a thing. Catherynne Valente's Radiance as well is described as kind of one of the key books in the genre, and it is set in a creeping fascist republic where various people involved in counterculture are desperately trying to keep everybody that they think is important safe, possibly while throwing other people to the wolves. So I'm not expecting it to be cheerful, I'll admit, but it should be stylish.
The next one is another really tiny one, which is We Who Were About To by Joanna Russ. I haven't read any Joanna Russ yet. I've wanted to read The Female Man for a while, but I saw this one in the bookshop and was intrigued by how bleak the premise is. So all of us have seen a story of, you know, a small group of men and women, this is only 5 people, who are abandoned on a planet all by themselves, and they decide that the only way forward is to try and repopulate the planet. And there is one woman who doesn't like this idea in the slightest, and this follows her point of view.
Something probably a bit further from my normal light and fun fare. Love is Love. It's an anthology comic put together to support the families of those involved in the Pulse shooting in Orlando. And the comics are all very varied, either talking about people's own experiences or of coming out, or of dealing with traumatic events, or just people's reactions on hearing about the shooting. I picked it up because I know one of the artists involved, Molly Ostertag, who draws strong female protagonist, but a worthy cause.
The next one I picked up was Octavia Butler's Adulthood Rites, which is actually the second in a series. I haven't read the first one, nor do I own it, but then they don't seem to be the easiest books to get hold of, so while I saw this one in the sale, I couldn't really resist. But if any of you have read this one, and can tell me if I can jump into this one without having read the first one, then do let me know. But otherwise, this one might have to wait until I get hold of the first one. I think it's a dystopian type setting.
Certainly the guy on the cover doesn't look very cheerful.
No, and I think deals with more of the kind of body horror. It mentions human transformations and that sort of thing, so we will see.
My last one is Descender Volume 2, and if you've seen the recent wrap-up, you'll have seen that read Volume 1 and really enjoyed it.
I think we bought that in the same month.
Yes, I think we probably did. And I'm assuming this follows on for more robot versus the robot destroying hordes hijinks.
From the point of view of a sad little boy.
Yes, who trusts everybody.
That's all the books we bought last month that we haven't already read and wrapped up. If you've read any of these, then let us know in the comments and we might try and get to them a little sooner. Thank you for watching. We will see you again soon.